My name is Dr. Jen Price, and I am a life and career coach. I work primarily with teenagers and young adults. My background is in education and counseling for the past 20 plus years. I love what I do. I'm very passionate about what I do. It doesn't feel like work to me. I feel like my career picked me, essentially. And if you look at my history, my story, really it comes from a place of resiliency, a place of just forging forward, even when things were difficult. I grew up in a single parent home, and my dad actually raised me. He raised me and my three younger sisters after my mom passed away when I was 7. And so we had a journey with him, watching him learn how to cook and clean and try to figure out how to comb our hair, which was a lot of fun. But I grew up with a father who was very supportive, who believed in the power of education. He pushed us to excel and be involved in extracurricular activities and serve in the community. He also served in the community. He was a really good man. So I feel very blessed to have had that kind of upbringing. But my story begins, I think, when I was told what I couldn't do. Now, I mentioned my dad told me that the possibilities were limitless, but there was a conversation that I had with someone. I shared something from my heart. I knew I was going to college because that was my father's expectation. We all knew college was the next step. And so in my heart, I wanted to go on a full scholarship. Now, my dad was working class, and so I really didn't know how we would pay for school, but I knew school was the next step. College, 4-year degree, next step. Didn't know how we were going to pay for it. So I decided, well, scholarships are available. Let me start working for those now. And so my story begins with all the Saturdays that I spent going to the public library. Now, I love to read, and so my dad would take us to the library, and I decided to start looking for scholarships when I was in 7th grade. I know that's a little unusual for a 7th grader to work towards their future, but I was very driven, very motivated, and someone made the mistake of telling me that it wasn't possible. He told me that it was not possible to go to school on a full scholarship. And that was the wrong thing to tell me at the time. And so I started my journey in 7th grade, spending Saturdays looking through guidebooks, looking up scholarship foundations, asking my dad for a stamp, and writing letters to these foundations, asking them for a copy of their application. I looked at the applications to see what they were looking for. They were looking for students who made good grades in school, who were involved in their community, serving others, who were also actively involved in clubs. And so I looked at all of that and realized, well, this is what I need to do. So essentially, I was coming up with my plan to be able to go to college and to pay for it using these scholarship applications. And fast forward into high school, I did end up applying for many, many scholarships. And one of my favorite stories that I'd like to share with you all is just, you do what you can. And so I had my little part-time job in addition to my extracurricular activities, running track and serving in the community and volunteering at the church and a myriad of other clubs and organizations. And so from my part-time job, I saved up my money to buy an electric typewriter. Now, I know we have computers nowadays, but this is kind of dating me a little bit. Lets you know how old I am. But I saved up my money from my part-time job and bought an electric typewriter so that I could type up scholarship applications. And so that's what I would do after I finished all my homework late into the night, because I was in a lot of AP classes, advanced placement courses, and studying really hard. And it was just very challenging academically. But I would stay up to all hours of the night applying for scholarships consistently. Now, note the word I'm using, consistently. I did it consistently. And thankfully, it paid off to the tune of me being able to go to the University of Texas at Austin, hook 'em horns. I'm a alumni. Have to plug them. So I earned my bachelor's degree and my master's degree on full academic scholarship. And so I'm very thankful to have had the opportunity to graduate without the burden of debt that many students and families face.